This is the Prep Report with Mike Hutchins and Robin Francis, an in-depth look at high school sports in the West Tennessee area.
Well, this Prep Report will start us on the gridiron, as we'll talk a little signings for Bethel. That's Colton Quick of Union City, part of the big state championship squad, and one of the big players in that championship game, deciding to be a Wildcat.
Literally and figuratively a big player, Robin, a 300-pound center, an all-state center for Union City that helped them to that Class 2A state championship. And also point out that Union City had its most prolific offensive season ever in school history, with over 6,400 yards gained offensively, rushed Robin for over 6,200 yards, over 400 yards per game on average, and he was a big part of that. And glad to see Colton get the opportunity to play on the next level. He came to Union City as a freshman, and I remember seeing him in one of the first practices, and I thought he'd never make it. And he didn't make that first practice. He got about halfway through, but a lot of perseverance, hard work, determination, and made himself into a good football player. And that 300-pounder that he was as a freshman, he was a different type of 300-pounder as a senior. Probably the strongest kid on the team, and certainly a well-deserved honor and opportunity for young Colton Quick.
Yeah, these a lot of these teams, everybody, they must have a lot of players that are going to be playing at the next level. It's not quite that type of team with Darren Bolin in a lot of ways, but they do have some players that are being looked at as well. But and Colton being one of them, also with the record-setting fullback and Trey Jones being looked at as well.
Colton was the third young man to signed with a college program, Robin, already from that 2017 state championship team. You remember back Andrew Easley signed with Carson Newman, Braxton Waddell with the College of Cumberland's, now Quick to Bethel. I think Jones is going to get an opportunity, maybe close and maybe far away. I know he's talking to several teams, and he has a couple of offers on the table. He's just got to decide where he's the best fit. And again, it's an opportunity on the next level. We talk about mixing academics and athletics, and you look back and all these folks have excelled in the classroom as well. I think Union City High School especially has been a great fit for Colton Quick, and I think he would tell you that. I know he told me that earlier last week. And, it's an opportunity, again, to play at the next level. He can play there. There's some incentive for him to play there. I think he told me if you make the travel team, there's an incentive financially with your scholarship. If you make the starting squad, there's an incentive financially. So he's got some opportunities to attain some things that will be very beneficial to him, not only now, but take away some pressure in the future as far as having to pay that money back.
Let's look at basketball. The girls' sectional pairings are basically over. Summertown and Huntington are playing on Thursday night at Lawrence County. How would you like to be Huntington and that travel budget right now, going to Lawrence County to play in region games?
Yeah, and, a lot of flooding over there. They've pushed back games, Robin, and several counties. Wayne County has got a lot of flooding, a lot of water there or whatever. And they pushed last night's championship game on Wednesday to tonight. They're going to play now their boys and their girls on the same night in that Region 6. And, it's a Huntington squad that will certainly be tested tonight against Summertown. They come in with just one loss, much like the Phillies have one loss, that against Greenfield early in the season. The two things you look for, Robin, this time of the year is your personnel. If you've got a point guard and you got a big, you got a chance, because the point guard's going to get you in great position. It's going to beat the press. It's going to handle the adversity of getting the ball up court, and the big's going to give you an opportunity inside. Remember, we talked a couple of weeks ago about this, about some games are going to start playing in the 30s and the 40s.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's happened. Mm-hmm. And the teams that can adapt well, that have that good point guard, that have a good big inside, they're the ones that are advancing right now.
Summertown and Huntington, what they have in common, both losses coming to 13A teams.
Yeah, and
Gleason and Greenfield.
What a game that was on Wednesday night, that regional championship game. We're going to talk a little bit about that between Dresden and Greenfield. Goes to double overtime, and certainly a great win for Greenfield, a disappointing loss for Dresden, but the big thing and the best thing is neither one of them have their season over with right now. They'll play on Saturday night in the sectionals, and I think they both have an opportunity to advance.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what Greenfield, they'll be hosting Memphis Business. It's not really a secretarial school like you would think.
Business or business?
Business. It's a different type of school. Booker T. Washington, who we're used to hearing from Memphis, They'll be hosting the Lady Lions. Both teams from District 13A should be favored in these games.
Yeah, I think so. I think obviously the biggest challenge will be going to Memphis if you're Dresden and if you're Jonathan West and the Lady Lions there at Dresden. But they've really played well. We've talked about them and Gleason the second half of the season, how everybody kind of focuses on Greenfield and Westview from Weakley County and how these were dangerous teams. And there's a Gleason team that knocked off Greenfield in the district championship game, and the Dresden team that really played well on Wednesday night, taking Greenfield into double overtime. They were down 9 in the fourth quarter, Robin, came back and forced those 2 extra sessions. They got good basketball teams. I think this is a 3rd or 4th year in a row, maybe even a 5th, that they've been to the sectional, so they have experience there as well.
And 2A, Westview used a big third quarter to pull away the other night in the 7AA championship over rival Dyersburg. They just seem to meet up constantly. They have a little bit different and a more difficult road to get to the state tournament. They'll be playing in 14AA, Covington and Haywood. This Haywood club, their coach is gone in the young lady that was from Gibson County, but they still have a lot of talent down there.
What they have is athleticism, Robin.
Whitney Baird, yes.
The bottom line with them is they can get up and down the floor. They can press you. They can force you out of your element. Now, it's a Westview team that's seasoned. They've been to the state tournament every year for 5 or 6 years now. They've got Tasia Jones outside. They have Deja Graves inside, perfect inside-outside combination. The seasoning, I think, will be the big thing there for Westview. And they're to the point, Robin, where they've had enough success the last 3 or 4 years to where it's almost state championship or bust. Not state tournament or bust, but the ultimate prize. They've gone out and they've played against some of the best competition in the country in the high school and fared well there. Went 2-2 in a really nice tournament over the Christmas holidays out in the West. And, I think it's a situation where we've seen them be tested now, 3-4 times now from Dyersburg. Remember, Dyersburg took a lead on Westview in the district championship game. They were able to come back. It was 18-18 the third quarter of the regional championship game on Tuesday night, and Westview had the spurt to get them through there. And, again, Brian Haskins has done a great job there. He really has. He's kept them focused. He's met with expectations, and they're right where they thought they would be at this time of the year.
And Westview traditionally in the last few years have when the draw comes for the TSSAA in the state tournament, they usually get one of the tougher teams. Yeah. Elizabeth, and right. For several years in a row, first round.
So I guess that means Upperman.
Upperman this time, yeah.
Yeah. And again, they've played some good folks. I don't think that's going to be a shocker if they have to play a team that's undefeated and the reigning state champion, and I think they'll be ready to play. And, I think that's a neat thing about the TSSAA. And I had a chance to talk with those folks earlier this week, Robin, about the Greenfield Dresden double overtime. The fans rushed the floor with 0.5 of a second left after Chloe Moore makes the game-winning bucket in the second overtime, and you hear calls of should have been a technical foul, that we got cheated, and that's not the case. Talk to Gene Manise. There's no rule on the book about it. Now, should it have happened? Should there have been better policing? Should the officials have better control of the game? Absolutely so. But there's nothing on the book that they did not enforce that would have changed the outcome of the game.
Shock. Are you serious? The referees aren't at fault?
Well...
now we get into
when it's a 1 or 2 point game, they're always at fault.
Yeah,
I question whether or not some of these 30-point games where you hear people complaining and griping about the officials if they're actually a factor. But what a great basketball game, what a great finish, what a great ending, and again the fact that they both advance on, I think, takes a little sting off the loss for Dresden.
That's true. And in boys, you have Humboldt and Middleton, the 14A teams playing for the championship. Big. Basically, Humboldt coming from 4th down all the way through the region and getting to this point, so they'll be moving on. They have to worry about Douglas and the Memphis Academy of Science and Engineering, both two very difficult teams in Memphis in Single A.
They won't have the best athletes on the floor when they play those Memphis teams like they do right now, Robin. And we saw Humboldt last Friday night against Union City shoot 77% from the floor, 35 out of 45. I think they scored on 9 consecutive possessions at one time, and they just played at the top of their game. Now, whether it was the sight of those purple and gold uniforms or whether it's just tournament time, they decided to kick it up a notch, I don't know. Really surprised that they bounced back and played well enough to beat Peabody in the semifinals. You expect a letdown there. They were down going to the fourth quarter, but they had a big fourth quarter to outscore Wes Miller's team and advance on to tonight's championship game. And I think it's a situation there. And by the way, they moved that till Friday night already, and because of the weather down there and the floods. And it's a Middleton team that's had Humboldt's number this year. Beat them twice, if you remember, over a period of 5 days to win that District 14A championship there. So some rivalry and some history. Be a good basketball game for the regional championship.
Region 7 AA. How about South Gibson? First ever berth into the sectionals for that squad and that school. So that's big, and they still have to play, but they got Jackson Southside for the 7 AA title game.
Yeah, and they knocked off Obion Central in round 1 of the district tournament. Had a chance to see them a couple of times this year. They got a good mix too, Robin. Got a little athleticism in the backcourt. They've got a couple of bigs inside now. They're not dominant bigs, but they're 6'4", 6'5", that give them an advantage inside, not only rebounding, but a post presence as well. So you just can't go out and guard the perimeter and guard three-point shooters. And again, they played well come tournament time. I thought that was a huge win for them against Crockett County in the semifinals. A Crockett County team, Robin, that had surprised everybody and won the District 13 AA championship at Troy.
So if you win, you move on, you get Hamilton and Mitchell.
Which one? Pick your poison.
Yeah. At least it's not East.
Well, that's true. And, hey.
Is East playing?
If you could win, you get it at home. So if you lost, you just have to go around the corner to get to home.
That's the truth. Softball, a lot of in baseball, a lot of scrimmages that are trying to be taking place. I know it's been very waterlogged, as everyone has had to, unfortunately, deal with the weather situation when you talk outdoor sports. It looks like Union City will be having softball play day on Saturday. They'll start at 9:30 in the morning, 7 games, featuring Gibson County Hall, South Fulton, McNary Central, Gleason, Peabody, and J.B. Suiters host squad will be there as well, getting in some early game experience. If you're coming, I'm just going to be advised to you, parking is going to be a question, and mud will be...
Bring your boots.
Mud will not be an option. It will take place.
Bring your boots. It's an exciting time of the year. The spring, obviously, people have been inside a lot, Robin, and, whether it's baseball, softball, whether it's track, tennis, whether it's soccer, 5 sports there, the Olympic style festival, Spring Fling, just a couple of months down the road. It's an exciting time, and I know folks are ready to get started.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing, to finally get out, some decent weather, to be able to get outside. It's not freezing, it's not snowing, and maybe it won't be raining.
Well, what did your mother always tell you? Get outside and get the stink blown off of you. I think a lot of us need the stink blown off of us, Robin, and we're looking forward to being outdoors.
You've been listening to The Prep Report with Robin Francis and Mike Hutchins. Listen each week as Robin and Mike bring you exclusive information on what's going on in West Tennessee high school sports. For sponsorship information, call 731-446-7496.